Hello students, welcome to Legacy Academy. In this particular video, we are going to discuss the major lakes of the world continuing with our mapping series. We know that in the recent year, UPSC has begun to ask questions regarding the major geographical features spread all across the world. This year itself, you have questions asked about the lakes situated along the equator. So in this context, let us try to understand about some of the major lakes, important lakes that we find in our world. Now, if you look at the first lake, which is called as Lake Baikal, Lake Baikal is located in Russia. In terms of area, it is considered today as the 7th largest lake in the entire world. And however, if we talk about which kind of lake, so we know that lakes can be divided into freshwater lake, we can say saline lake, brackish water lake. So it is considered as the largest freshwater lake in the entire world if you measure the volume of water here. 22% of the water volume, freshwater volume is present in this particular lake itself. The lake is also geologically interesting because it has formed a long time ago. The lake is roughly believed to have formed about 25 to 30 million years ago. That makes it even older than few ranges of Himalayas such as Lesser Himalayas and the Shivalik Himalayas, for example. And that is why it is also considered as the oldest. And the important thing is that it is without any doubt the deepest lake that exists on the earth. Area wise, it covers about 31,500 square kilometer. And to understand this area, this is a very large area, especially if you look at this longitudinal region here as such. And the lake has formed as a Rift Valley lake. Rift Valley lake means that the continental landmass somewhere in the past, geological past, we can say, began to split apart, and the continental landmass began to split apart. It created a valley like structure. Later on in this valley, due to the collection of snow, collection of water, this lake has come into existence. In this lake area, which is situated in somewhere we can say Siberian region of Russia, in the central part of Russia, you can see from here, you have a tribe that resides here called as Buryat tribe, one of the most important tribes in the eastern part of Russia. And lake obviously is geologically important, but also it is considered to be culturally valuable by the local people who reside there. Taking that into consideration, UNESCO in year 1996 declared it as a World Heritage Site. Not only that, lake is also referred many times as the Pearl of Siberia. Now, if you look at the other point about this lake, there are certain concerns being raised here. First of all, though the lake contains very high amount of freshwater volume, it is the deepest lake, but due to rapid industrialization and industrial growth in this particular area, we are seeing extent of pollution increasing in this lake because lot of untreated waste is being dumped here. These waste are largely derived from paper and pulp mill because you have large scale Siberian forest in this area from where extraction of the pulp is done to manufacture paper. Also, this is the region which is believed to be the world's first uranium enrichment center. During time of Soviet Union, uranium was enriched here for the purposes of nuclear weapon development. And in this lake also we are seeing invasive algal species spreading across and are covering the surface of lake that also causes damage to the entire lake ecosystem. The second lake, which we can consider to be even a sea, inland sea, surrounded by land from all the side, is the Aral Sea. It is an example of endorheic lake. Endorheic means surrounded by land from all the sides. So that is what we can see from here. You have the Aral Sea that is located along the border of two countries. Question like this can also be asked in examination. Which countries do share border with Aral Sea, or which countries is Aral Sea spread across? So the upper part, northern part is in Kazakhstan. The southern part is in Uzbekistan, and you can see from here two rivers. One is called as Sirdarya, other is called as Amudarya. Both rivers basically discharge their water in the Aral Sea. Once upon a time, the lake was very large. The inland sea was very large and was considered as the fourth largest such kind of endorheic lake or sea in the world. But something changed between 1960 to 1997. What happened is that 90% of the lake has dried up today. Only 10% of the lake's original size is what you will be able to see. And this is clearly reflected from this particular image. If you look here, this is the original image of the lake, taken satellite image we can say, taken in the early 1960s and 70s. And since then, if you see the entire area, this entire area, almost the northern and the entire eastern part, central part, has completely dried up. And it's not seasonal dryness, it is permanently dried up. So the water is only contained in this small region in the western part. So 10% of area is only what we have here. And this we can see that Earlier, when the lake used to be very large water bodies, you have a lot of ships plying through this area carrying large amount of goods and merchandise. So these ships got stranded here and there as lake water never returned back. So you can see large amount of ship graveyard actually you would see in this kind of in the aerial CSS. So many times United Nations has declared it as one of the world's worst environmental disaster. Ban Ki-moon, who used to be Secretary General of United Nations once upon a time, has given this statement, and because of this kind of changes we have witnessed, UNESCO recently also has put this lake in the memory of world register as such. Now, future prospect wise, if you look, oil and gas exploration is possible here because recently we have discovered the beds of oil and gas. ARLC Basin program is being launched by United Nations Development Program. If some recovery has to be done, it can be done here. And afforestation is also further being done because when the lake bed is completely dry, it is made up of loose sediment, loose soil, and whenever you have movement of a strong wind, these soil and sediment can be carried by these winds and can be deposited in the nearby fertile areas, which is used for the cultivation of cotton. So that is why afforestation is being promoted here, so that at least desertification can be prevented, so that we do not have to face another natural disaster. Third, very interesting lake or is again what we can call as Dead Sea. Dead Sea is considered to be the lowest point on the continental landmass. That means from the sea surface, if you look at the lake bed, it is located at about 430.5 meter. However, why Dead Sea is very important is because it is considered as what I can call as the sea with highest salinity. Here salinity value is high as 343 parts per thousand. That means if you take 1000 gram of seawater and evaporate it, the 343 gram of the salt will remain here. And this we can understand from the perspective of comparison of seawater. If you look at any general seawater, ocean water, their salinity is about 35 ppt only. So Dead Sea is almost, we can say, 9 to 10 times saltier and saline compared to average sea. And this is again example of Rift Valley Sea. Similar way how Lake Baikal has formed, Dead Sea also has believed to form, because here you have one plate here, and these both plates are again diverging, they are drifting apart and thus creating a valley-like structure. Later on in this valley, we have seen the water that got filled up here. So we can say it is largely a result of plate tectonics, that is continental divergence. So overall, we can look here again, it is facing similar problem like Aral Sea. In 1930, its area was about 1000 square kilometer. It has now been reduced to just 605 square kilometer, and rapid shrinking is being observed in this area also. And to conserve this Dead Sea, a project has been announced here called as Red Sea Dead Sea Water Conveyance Pipeline Project. The objective of this project is that if you go further south of Dead Sea, you will find Sinai Peninsula, and when you cross the Sinai Peninsula, you will find Red Sea. So the project largely envisions that water can be transferred from the Red Sea to Dead Sea, so that its shrinkage can be stopped, its shrinkage can be restricted. So this is the overall you can see. And as we can see, between 1960, after 1960, we have seen rapid shrinking, especially in the south central part of the Dead Sea area. That is what this project overall is about. Then coming to third and one of the largest lake that exists on the earth from perspective of area, if you look here, largest continental lake is Lake Superior, spread across about 82,000 square kilometer. And then further from Lake Superior, you come to the south, you have Lake Michigan, you have Lake Huron, Lake Erie, and Lake Ontario. So these five lakes, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and Superior, collectively also we can remember it as simply as Holmes, the initial of each of the lakes. So Holmes, these five lakes collectively located along the US-Canada border, is referred as a Great Lake. Now Great Lake are an example of glacial lake that formed somewhere about 14,000 years. We know that when glaciers move, they cause erosion. Due to this erosion, you have development of large scale depression, and during the warming phase of earth, when glaciers retreat, all these depressions are filled up by the meltwater of glaciers, forming this lake. So that is the way how it has formed. This is considered as one of the most important region from the economy of US and Canada, because in this region you will see rapid industrialization, large scale industrialization, different type of industries such as iron and steel industry, automobile industry, you have the railway manufacturing industry, then you have the what you can call as sport based industry, because again lake themselves are interconnected with each other by canal networks. Then you have the Niagara Falls here, which also helps in the hydroelectricity generation. And then further through this lake, you can go all the way up to Gulf of St. Lawrence in Canada, and you can have access to port through which you can go in the Atlantic Ocean. And this is possible through the St. Lawrence River, which again provide opportunity for inland waterway transportation, inland river transportation. So very, very important as far as the economic landscape of US and Canada is concerned. This is example of how ships ply. You can see that lakes are on the other side, and in between them you have connectivity. Connectivity is through narrow canals that has been dug to connect the lake, and that sees all year movement of ships here. So agriculture perspective also, because it is freshwater source for irrigation purposes, water is used. Mineral reserves are found here. For example, you'll find iron ore, limestone. You'll also find here this what you can call as manganese. And overall we can say corn, soybean, wheat, these are the major crops which is cultivated in the Great Lake Basin. Then coming to the next area we have is the Rift Valley Lake that we'll find in Africa. Rift Valley Lake in Africa also are result of continent-continent divergence, or we can call as CC divergence. So currently what is going on, if you look at the continent of Africa, currently Africa is being split apart. The western part of Africa, as shown by arrow, is moving in this direction, and the eastern part is moving in this direction. So this side you have a plate that is referred as Somali plate, and the other side you have what you can call as the Nubian plate. So Nubian plate and Somali plate again are undergoing continent-continent divergence. Again, similar way how Lake Baikal has formed, similar way how Red Sea has formed. And because of this, you have large-scale valley-like structures. Largest rift valley we can say on the earth today exists here. And in this rift valley, you see accumulation of rainwater here and there, forming several lakes as such, like Victoria, Tanganyika, Edward, and all that. And this is a recent tectonic movement that we are seeing, where the divergence is continuously ongoing. It is also referred as an example of neotectonic. The lakes spread all the way from Ethiopia in the north to Malawi region in the south as such. If you look at some of the major lakes here, so second largest freshwater lake in the world, that is Lake Victoria, one of the largest lake that you'll find in the largest lake actually of Africa as such. It is also source of one of the river, the tributary, we can say one of the source river of Nile, which is the longest river of the world as such. Then further you come to the south, you can see a longitudinal lake that you have here called as Lake Tanganyika. Lake Tanganyika is considered as the longest freshwater lake in the world, spreading across 676 kilometers. Then further you come to the south in the country called as Malawi, you have Lake Malawi. Lake Malawi is believed to be the richest freshwater lake with richest freshwater fauna in the world. Fauna means the animal species that is supported by lake. A large number of animals are being supported here, and that is why this lake has been put under Global 200 Priority Ecoregion for Conservation by an organization that we call as WWF, stands for World Wildlife Fund. So these are major lakes we can say that is part of the African Rift Valley. Then coming to Caspian Sea, though we refer it as a sea because but it is surrounded by land from all the sides. If you look first of all at Caspian Sea, which countries surround Caspian Sea? Easily question can be asked in prelims here. So on the northern side, northwestern side, you have Kazakhstan, then you have Turkmenistan, then in the south you have Iran, then further in the west you have Azerbaijan, and then a large part is basically across the Russia or along the Russia as such. So how many countries? Russia, Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Iran, and Azerbaijan. The large part of Caspian Sea, however, is along the border of Russia and in the south, Iran as such. So it is believed to be the largest inland body of water. Caspian Sea also we can say is the largest lake in the world if you define it like this. Area wise, if you look 1200 to 320 kilometers, that is the dimension. Area wise, it covers roughly 371,000 square kilometers. Such somewhere, if you have to compare, you can say roughly 8% of total area of India. That is the size of Caspian Sea. It is believed to be the remnant of Tethys Sea. If you have studied geography, you would have heard about two continental land masses. You had Laurasia in the north, that is split from Pangaea, and you have Gondwana land in the south. And between Laurasia and Gondwana land, there existed an ancient sea. That sea was called as Tethys Sea. Later on, what happened? All the land masses of Gondwana land, such as South America, Africa, India, Australia, began to move and drift toward north. And due to this movement, what happened? Tethys Sea got closed. But here and there is still some remnants we see, like Caspian Sea or Mediterranean Sea. Both are the remaining part of this ancient Tethys basin. Overall, the seabed, obviously, because it is ocean bed, it is made up of basaltic rock. As far as the formation of Caspian Sea is concerned, it is believed that somewhere about 5.5 million years ago, there was a tectonic movement due to the continent-continent convergence between the Arabian Peninsula and the Eurasian continental landmass that led to upliftment of this entire area, and this entire sea completely got landlocked as such. Natural gas reserve is found here. 1.9% total global output is believed to be taking place from the Caspian Sea itself, and several rivers such as Volga, Ural, and Terek drains their water in the Caspian Sea as such. And this entire region that you see are the proposed and functioning gas pipeline. These are largely extracting gas from the Caspian Sea and around basin as such. Then coming to the next, you have something called as Lake Toba. Lake Toba is located in Sumatra region of Indonesia. If you look at the map here, you know that here you have the Southeast Asia. This is the northernmost island of Indonesia called as Sumatra. And in Sumatra, further you go to the north, this area that you see nearby city called as Medan is Lake Toba. Lake Toba is considered to be the largest crater lake in the world. Crater lakes are formed when you have very explosive, intense volcanic eruption. The extent of magmatic eruption is so intense that it completely removes, or we can say blows away, the upper conical part of volcano. Generally, the structure of volcano looks something like this, where at the top you have a small circular vent through which eruption comes. Sometimes eruption becomes so destructive that the entire upper conical part of volcano is blown away. So when the entire upper conical part of volcano is blown away, what you are left with is a large depression, and this large depression is what we call as a crater. So largest crater lake in the world, dimension wise, it is about 100 kilometers long and 30 kilometer wide. From picture also you can see the extent of this lake. A massive super volcanic eruption that occurred in the past has created this lake. Then coming to some interesting lakes in India also, if we take a look at, we have Vular Lake. Vular Lake is located in the Jammu and Kashmir. It is believed to be the largest freshwater lake in India, and in the ancient books, it is also referred as Mahapadmasar. So Lake Vular, Vular is a name that has come in the later ages. If you refer to the older book, older scriptures, Mahapadmasar is referred here as a water body, which is believed to be the nothing but the ancient name of Vular Lake itself. Most interestingly, one of the major tributary of river Indus, Jhelum, that originate from Verinag in Jammu Kashmir, it passes through the Kashmir Valley, and while flowing through Kashmir Valley, it passes through this Jhelum, passes through this Vular Lake itself as such. So if you look at the location, this is the Vular Lake, very large, extensive lake located in the valley of Kashmir. On one side you have Sopore region, then you have Manasbal region. If you see some of the important towns here, all of these towns are continuously coming in news. Gandarbal you would have heard about. Why? Because these areas are where you see continuous counter militancy operation being launched by Indian security forces, Indian military, Rashtriya Rifles, and even sometime by CRPF collectively as such. So this is Kashmir Valley. And then you have the Jhelum River. Jhelum River flows through it and then further goes in Pakistan as such. So that's the importance of Vular Lake. Second, can say is the Chilka Lake. Chilka Lake, if you look at the map first, is located in the eastern coast of India along the state of Odisha. This you can see, this is the Chilka Lake, and it is the largest brackish water lagoon of India. Let us first understand the word lagoon. Lagoon refers to such kind of lake which is surrounded by land from three sides but has a small opening toward ocean or sea from other side. That is what you can see Chilka Lake here, surrounded by land from three sides and a small inlet it has toward Bay of Bengal. Here Irrawaddy dolphin is one of the major species which you will find, and also it is categorized as a Ramsar site. Ramsar list we know came after the Ramsar convention held in 1971 in the Ramsar city of Iran, and it basically focuses upon those wetlands which are at risk of damage, degradation, and this destruction due to the human or natural activities. So bird's eye view of Chilka Lake, that is how it looks. Very, very large lake, spread across more than 1,200 square kilometers in the monsoon time. It shrinks significantly during the dry season. So very important also, it hosts and support a lot of, we can call as the bird species, migratory bird species, which are undergoing winter migration from Siberia to Chilka Lake and from further Chilka Lake to Central Asia. Then next important lake, which is very important, interesting lake, is called as Lonar. Lonar Lake is located in the state of Maharashtra. Here, district wise, if you have to remember, you can remember this is called as Buldana. Buldana is the name of district here in Maharashtra. So Buldana district, where you have Lonar Lake, it is very unique, saline, because salinity content is higher, salt content is higher, also alkaline content you will find in this. And this is also crater lake, but there is a difference. We also have discussed about Lake Toba. Lake Toba we have classified as crater lake, but that is a volcanic crater lake formed due to supermassive volcanic eruption. This also is a crater lake, but what kind of crater lake? This we can call as a meteoritic crater lake. Meteorite is a small rock that cannot burn while passing through Earth's atmosphere, which is part of the rocky pieces rotating or revolving in the solar system, and then they are able to reach the surface of Earth, and they travel at very high velocity, more than 10 to 11,000 kilometers per hour. And while traveling at such a high velocity, which is also many times referred as hypervelocity, they strike the rocks of the Earth. So when they strike, due to their impact, a large depression is created, and thus that depression is called as impact crater. Now, what is the significance of Lonar Lake? Mostly across the entire world, contents are made up of granite and granite-based rock. So most of the meteoritic impact crater are also formed in the granitic rock. But this region is part of Deccan Plateau, which is made up of basaltic rock, and that is why it is believed to be the world's only hypervelocity impact crater in the basaltic rock. Keep in mind, a lot of meteoritic crater exist all across the world, but most of them are in granitic rock. This is only that is located in the basaltic rock. And because of this uniqueness, it has been recently declared as a National Geo-Heritage Monument by Government of India after the recommendation of Geological Survey of India as such. So that is a Lonar Lake. Now, if you look at this picture, again you will see interesting fact here. Most of time Lonar Lake water, if you look, is greenish in color. But in some year, the water of this lake turns pinkish to red. What is the reason behind this? Reason is because of presence of unique organism which are referred as halophilic microorganism. Halophilic microorganisms refer to such microorganisms which love saline conditions, salt conditions. So halo means salinity, philic means loving. So halophilic organisms develop here whenever salinity concentration of this lake increases. We know that whenever you have rainfall, fresh water is being carried to the lake. Suppose in certain year, dry condition, dry weather has persisted. This might be due to the failure of monsoon, let us say. In that case, what will happen? Fresh water addition is less. That means salt concentration will keep on increasing because evaporation is going on all the time. Evaporation is removing the fresh water, relative volume of salt is increasing. So whenever salt concentration become very, very high, you have dominance of such halophilic microorganisms, halophybites also they are called as many times, and it is the presence of these microorganisms with red pigment that provides red color to the lake. This is not permanent feature or phenomena, this is temporary phenomena. Next year when you will have rainfall, again lake will turn back into its original color, that is the what you can call as the green color as such. So these are some of the important lakes we had to discuss as far as the world mapping series is concerned. Thank you.